There is one word that every Chinese airport security officer will say to you that no Chinese textbook has ever taught. And until you know it, you will always be the person holding up the line. Welcome back. This episode is a complete Chinese airport experience, checking in, getting through security, and boarding your flight. 3 parts, 16 phrases, 0 freezing up at the counter. Let's get into it. Part 1, the check-in counter. This is genuinely where everything begins. And it's also where I have personally stood completely frozen, holding my passport like it was a shield, having absolutely no idea what to say. That was my first time at a Chinese airport. I had studied vocabulary for weeks, and the moment a very friendly agent looked at me and said something I didn't catch, I just handed over my passport and smiled. Don't be me. Learn these phrases. The first thing you say before the check-in agent even asks you anything is this.
我要办理值机。我要办理值机。
I'd like to check in. That's your opening line. It's clear, it's polite, and it tells the agent exactly why you're standing there. The key word in the middle means to handle or to process, and the last 2 words together mean check-in. Say it with confidence, and the agent will know you've done your homework. The agent will smile, they're usually very warm, and ask you where you're going.
好的，您去哪儿？好的，您去哪儿？
Sure, where are you going? 2 things to notice. First, the word for you here is the formal, polite version. You'll hear this a lot in service situations, restaurants, hotels, airports. It shows respect. Second, the question word at the end means where. So the sentence literally goes, sure, you going where? Very direct, very natural. Now you tell the agent your destination. Let's use Beijing as our example.
我去北京。我去北京。
I'm going to Beijing. The structure is 3 words. I going to city name. That's it. If you're going to Shanghai, swap in Shanghai. Guangzhou, Chengdu, Shenzhen, the pattern never changes. Just drop in the city, and you're done. All right, the agent has your flight on screen. Now they need to know about your luggage.
请问您有几件托运行李？请问您有几件托运行李？
How many pieces of checked luggage do you have? There's a polite opener at the start. It's like saying, "Excuse me, may I ask?" Very common at service counters. Then, you have how many pieces checked luggage. Notice, the full phrase for checked luggage is 2 words together. The first means to check or to consign. The second means baggage. So it specifically means luggage you're sending into the hold, not your carry-on. Your answer is simple. 1 piece.
一件。一件。
1 piece of luggage. If you have 2, say 2 pieces. 3 pieces for 3. The measure word stays the same, just change the number in front. And if your Chinese numbers aren't solid yet, I did a full episode on that, I'll link it in the description. There are also 10 short practice videos to go with it, where you can shadow the numbers out loud. Worth checking out before your trip. Good. Bags are sorted. Now the agent asks about your seat. This question uses a word we've actually seen before. If you watched the restaurant episode, you might remember it. That time, the staff asked,
堂食还是外带？
Dine in or take away, the word in the middle, means or, and it signals a choice between 2 options. Same structure here at the airport.
靠窗还是走廊？靠窗还是走廊？
Window or aisle, same or same choice structure. Now, the correct answer, and I will die on this hill, is window.
靠窗。靠窗。
Window seat. You get the view, you get the wall to lean on, and nobody asks you to move so they can use the bathroom. Perfect. But if for some reason you prefer the aisle, maybe you have a long flight, and you know yourself, say,
靠走廊，靠走廊。
aisle seat. The agent finishes processing, hands you your boarding pass and says,
这是您的登机牌，登机口是23号。这是您的登机牌，登机口是23号。
Here is your boarding pass gate 23. 2 words to lock in. Boarding pass, which is the document that gets you onto the plane, and boarding gate, which is the door you walk through. Take it, say thank you, and head for security. Let's recap part 1. Slow it down, repeat each phrase out loud.
我要办理值机。我要办理值机。好的，您去哪儿？好的，您去哪儿？我去北京。我去北京。请问您有几件托运行李？请问您有几件托运行李？一件。一件。靠窗还是走廊？靠窗还是走廊？靠窗。靠窗。靠走廊。靠走廊。这是您的登机牌，登机口是23号。这是您的登机牌，登机口是23号。
Part 1 done. Now part 2, security. I want to frame this section differently. At the check-in counter, you were the one starting the conversation. But at security, you're not talking, you're listening and reacting. These are instructions, and your job is to understand them quickly and do what they say without holding up the line. And Chinese airport security lines move fast. People are efficient. Now remember that power bank I mentioned at the start? Here's the thing. In Europe and the US, power banks almost never come up at security. People just don't carry them the way they do in China. But in China, everyone has one. They're everywhere. And Chinese airport security specifically checks for them because large power banks are restricted on flights. So, when you put your bag on the conveyor belt, the security officer will very likely say,
请把手机、电脑和充电宝取出来。请把手机、电脑和充电宝取出来。
Please take out your phone, laptop, and power bank. That last word, power bank, is one of those words that almost no Chinese textbook teaches you, but you will hear it at every single Chinese airport. The word literally breaks down as charge electricity treasure. A treasure for charging electricity. Honestly, a very accurate name. If I had known this word my first time through Chinese security, I would have saved myself a very awkward 30 seconds of digging through my bag while a patient officer pointed repeatedly at my backpack pocket. Phone out, laptop out, power bank out, bag in the tray. Then, almost immediately,
皮带也要脱下来。皮带也要脱下来。
your belt needs to come off too. The key word here means also it signals that this is an addition to what you're already doing. Belt, also need take off. Into the tray it goes. You walk through the scanner. Most of the time, you're fine and you keep walking. But sometimes they flag you for a manual check. If that happens, the officer will say,
请过来接受检查。请过来接受检查。
Please come over for inspection. Short, direct, clear. Don't panic, this happens to everyone. Step to where the officer is pointing. Stand still, arms slightly out. It takes about 20 seconds. Once they're done, you'll hear the best 4 words in the airport.
您可以走了。您可以走了。
You're free to go. You can go now. Collect your things, reassemble yourself, and head to the gate. Recap for part 2.
请把手机、电脑和充电宝取出来。请把手机、电脑和充电宝取出来。皮带也要脱下来。皮带也要脱下来。请过来接受检查。请过来接受检查。您可以走了。您可以走了。
Part 3, the gate. You've checked in, you've survived security, you've maybe bought an overpriced coffee. Now you're sitting at the gate, boarding pass in hand, waiting. This section is all broadcast language, formal, clear announcements. Once you know what to listen for, they're actually quite easy to follow. The first announcement tells you where to go.
请到23号登机口登机。请到23号登机口登机。
Please proceed to gate 23 for boarding. Notice the gate number comes before the word for gate. That's how Chinese handles numbered things. Once you know this pattern, you'll never mishear a gate announcement again. Then they'll tell you when boarding starts.
登机时间是10点20分。登机时间是10点20分。
Boarding time is 10:20. Time in Chinese is wonderfully logical. The word for a clock literally means dot, like the dot on a clock face. The word for minutes means fraction. A few minutes later, the main boarding announcement.
现在开始登机，请出示登机牌和身份证件。现在开始登机，请出示登机牌和身份证件。
Boarding has now begun. Please present your boarding pass and ID. The verb here means to present or show, and you'll hear it anywhere official documents are involved: train stations, hotel check-ins, government offices. When you hear this announcement, have your boarding pass and passport already in your hand. The people behind you will thank you. And finally, as you step through the gate, the staff member will say,
祝您旅途愉快。祝您旅途愉快。
Have a pleasant journey. Warm, gracious, and genuinely nice to hear. The verb at the start means to wish, so this is literally, wish you journey pleasant. You can say this yourself when seeing off a friend or anyone about to travel. It's always appreciated. Final recap, part 3.
请到23号登机口登机。请到23号登机口登机。登机时间是10点20分。登机时间是10点20分。现在开始登机，请出示登机牌和身份证件。现在开始登机，请出示登机牌和身份证件。祝您旅途愉快。祝您旅途愉快。
Before we wrap up, I want to give you a real challenge. We're going to listen to an actual airport broadcast, the kind you'd hear over the speakers at a Chinese airport. Now, a heads up. This announcement contains words we haven't covered today. That's intentional. The goal here is not to understand every single word. The goal is to pick out the information you need. That's what listening at an airport actually is, not full comprehension, just finding the right details fast. So here are your 2 questions before we play it. Question 1. where is this flight going? And question 2, what is the gate number? Hold those 2 questions in your head. I'll play the announcement twice. Ready?
L3457航班前往北京的旅客请注意，您的航班即将起飞，请立即前往58号登机口登机，舱门将于5分钟后关闭。L3457航班前往北京的旅客请注意，您的航班即将起飞，请立即前往58号登机口登机，舱门将于5分钟后关闭。L3457航班前往北京的旅客请注意，您的航班即将起飞，请立即前往58号登机口登机，舱门将于5分钟后关闭。
Drop your answers in the comments. I want to see how you did. And if you found this useful, a like and a subscribe help more people find these lessons. See you next time.